Well, I'm now recording, so we will start off. I'm going to start off by allowing you to show the book, and then we're going to talk about why we wrote the book. But I'll give me a couple secs here. I'll go 3, 2, 1. Yeah, why don't you show the book? Hey, Andy Paul, how you doing? Yeah, excellent. Hold it up just a little bit more in front of your face. Not that I don't want to get there. We are. Amp up your sales. So we've got Andy Paul on here with me today, and Andy and I met about a year and a half ago, virtually, I guess, when your other book was out, Zero Time Selling. You can hold that one up too. Yeah, why don't you hold that one up as well? Both excellent books, by the way, and I enjoyed the reading both of them. Unfortunately, I love holding paper and reading, but in both cases, I actually read the first one on PDF and this one on a tablet. It's just not the same. But hopefully, I gleaned enough from your books that I can actually remember this stuff. So hey, let me ask you a question. Why'd you write the book? Interesting. It's yeah. I mean, that's a lot of what I gleaned from the book. Right? Is trying to help it out. Be there first, faster, and try to amp the sale up a lot quicker. Obviously. Hey, so the other thing too is, how can people get a hold of you? Excellent. And I suppose you do training and a whole bunch of other things. I would imagine. Okay. Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things too, just because I know your book's going to launch on December 8th and you've got a promo that you want to do. You know what we'll do later on after the interview's done? Why don't we do another video and then I can launch that up on my website for you? How's that sound? Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to jump into some of this stuff. I'm going to jump into why, one of the things I gleaned from it is salespeople need to have a process. Why does the salesperson have to have some form of a process? Hmm. It's I realize that most companies do not have set processes, and it just unfortunately it's a negative impact on sales. I would assume so. Uh, Absolutely. Well, it's interesting because you're bringing up the next question I was asked. Is I mean, you really do stress the responsiveness in the whole process. Why are you stressing? Why do you stress responsiveness so much? I mean, apart from the fact that you also kind of just gave on the IBM talk. One of the things that you did talk about or show in your book is the typical sales funnel as people go through, and obviously people are jumping in further down the funnel or engaging sales further on down the funnel. You know, how can what can someone do as a salesperson in an organization to hopefully be one of the chosen few that actually gets engaged, I guess is the best way. What I mean, any tips or tricks you have on something like that? Absolutely. Interesting. Can you be proactive on that too and send emails or letters out to these guys? Yeah. Absolutely. Oh yeah, all excellent, excellent pieces of advice. And I, my personal belief is just the way that the world is going, especially with, as you hit it, is people are getting further down in the funnel before they start engaging someone is, you had better be that person in your area that they know about that actually handles that, or it's basically a lost cause, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm. Yep. Absolutely. Something I'd adhere to right now. So it's I absolutely agree. You should be position yourself as kind of the industry expert in your marketplace. Hey, one of the things you do talk about in chapter 15, you talk about like this value gap between your competition. Just can you give? I thought it was phenomenal or a good idea. Can you give just your concept on the value gap where you are and your competitors are? Just hmm, wow. Yeah, absolutely. Quick note on that one. Actually, when I was moving my house down in Scottsdale, I was trying to get movers. Went online, found all the ones that were like 4 or 5 stars, reached out to 5 of them. Only one called me. Only one called me. I could not believe it. He got my business, obviously, but he kept on top of me. A great guy too. He's a super nice guy. But I was absolutely shocked because these guys all had multiple 4 and 5 star ratings, and I did not hear from any of them. Yep. Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, that was very similar to the concept you talked about in your first book. One of the things, chapter 19, I love this chapter because of the fact it talks about 1% better is enough. And in sales, and I've been in forever in sales and marketing, business development. Reading that, I'm like, yes, I totally get it. Can you just give? I mean, I don't want you to give all the secrets away in your book, but I mean, this one is. I think this one's a great idea. Can you give your concept of 1% better is enough? Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a great segment of the book. Hey, one of the things you talk about in chapter 20, I remember you know this book word for word, don't you? But anyways, neither here nor there. I'm, jo- I'm joking. No, no, no. I lead you into it, Andy. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you hanging, looking like, oh my God, what's he doing? Hey, look, one of the things you talk about you kind of allude to the fact that salespeople need to invest in themselves. And I'm a firm believer in that. I really do believe that salespeople need to invest in themselves. Can you give me, maybe for my audience, a couple of pointers on how salespeople could invest in themselves? Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Great insight on that. Appreciate that. The one of the things too you also talk about is in chapter 21. You talk about follow up, and you quote in there 73% of all sales leads are never followed up, and you know sure. Well, no, there is a source, obviously, of it, but the idea I'm going to ask you, first of all, you tell me about the source, but secondly is, what's the impact and what can people do? Obviously, start following up, which is a dumb question, but what can they actually do? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to go into a couple of things. I got time. Hopefully, you got time for two or three more questions here. But one thing I just want to highlight is chapter 23. It's your follow up rules. I'm not going to ask any questions on it. I'm just telling people get the book just based on those follow up rules. They're great, right? It's there. You have several in there. It's just boom, 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 and it's like it's so simple, right? And that's my plug for your book to get people to buy it, right? So yeah. Absolutely. So, you were just talking about the scratch and win lottery tickets and getting sales leads given to you and stuff like that. Towards the end of the book, you start talking about cold calling, and I got my own theory on cold calling. It's I'll tell you about that some other time or something. You have to cold call or not to cold call, and one of the things I mean, you just nailed it, right? When I started this, I go, yes, Andy got it, right? Is the only reason why sales reps are cold calling is because literally the marketing department isn't doing their job to go and find leads to come in the door. Basically, is what it comes down to, right? I may have bastardized that a bit, but I mean, yep, yeah. The problem with cold calling is I truly believe there's a better way to do it. That's my personal belief, right? Is if you look at the reports, I mean, there was who's it, Frank Ramboski or whatever that did whatever the cold calling is dead or whatever it is, that book, right? I was reading up on him recently. He referenced a Baylor University report that went through looking at Keller Williams, a whole bunch of offices, and they phoned like 6,200 some odd homes, right? They ended up getting 19 meetings on 6,000 calls and 6,000 plus calls. So it was like 0.3% success rate, right? There's another one on LinkedIn. They just in their social selling segment, they have a session where they reference an IBM report where it's like good only 3% of the time. So I always tell people, cold calling, when you think about it, is if you spend, why would you do something where you're unsuccessful between 97 and 99% of your time, right? That's like I could never. That is a true definition of pain, right? Right there. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I mean, it's the point to cold calling is unfortunately sometimes in lack of anything going on, you got to get off your duff and just start do something, take some form of action to move, or else you're going to get fired, right? That's really what it comes down to. Yeah. 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 Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's a process, right? Is really what it comes down to. So we're coming close on. I don't know. Geez, I've monopolized like almost 40 minutes of your time here. Love it though. I always love talking to you. Love talking to you. One of the things you do talk about here is storytelling and the significance of storytelling, and it's becoming more and more apparent that people are not kind of cut and dried and facts and figures. They like to hear a nice story, feel part of it, and stuff like that. What's your take on storytelling as it comes to sales? Gotcha. Let me ask you two last questions here. Is there a question that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? So wait, Andy, hold on. Is there any particular book that you've read that anyone should read as a salesperson? Mhm. It's also nice to read something that's not sales related as well, I would imagine. What's the one thing you want people to take away from this book? I would also imagine that, I mean, if you're not bringing value to each conversation you have, that could shut down your sales process pretty immediately too. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Once again, how do people get a hold of you? Can you hold your books up? Yeah. Yep. We'll do a promo on that in a sec. Excellent. Both excellent books. Appreciate it. Thanks, Andy. Stay on, and we'll do the promo here in a sec. Thanks.